Hi, welcome to Local Flavor. I'm Deborah Anderson and we're back here in Moreland at Aunt Faye's Community Kitchen. And I'm gonna make something everyone probably already makes at home. I'm just gonna give you my twist on it. Everyone has their own tips and tricks and everyone is right and no one is wrong. So I'm gonna make steak fingers. We always used to make chicken fried steak, and as we got older, it just seemed like too grueling to eat an entire chicken fried steak. And the steak fingers are so handy to get out of the fridge and eat leftover. So I don't even warm them up sometimes. If I'm gonna put them on a plate, but sometimes you just want a snack when you're walking by the fridge, and a steak finger is just great. So I'm gonna make steak fingers today, and I'm gonna make Doyle's favorite crock pot corn along with it. But the trouble with us is we never know what we want until we're hungry. And so I started making the crock pot corn on the stove, so in a saucepan, and I actually like it better. So I thought I'll just show you that it can be done. So what I want to do first is I'm going to go ahead and start the crock pot corn. So I'm going to turn on the burner here, and it's real simple. I use frozen corn. Wow, that is a big flame. Let's put it on low. So one bag, usually they used to be a pound. Have you noticed that everything is getting less and less in the bag? It's gonna mess up all our recipes. And a 1/4 cup of butter. And I'm using heavy whipping cream since they had it on sale, but if I don't have it on hand, whole milk is also what we just use. So, but if you want it to be how it's supposed to be, that's how it's supposed to be. So I need some salt and sugar. Here's my salt. I'm gonna put a little bit of salt and pepper. And then I'll find my sugar in a bit and put some sugar in it. And I'm just gonna put a lid on this and it will be done. That was super fast, right? And now I'm gonna take my cube steak and cut it into, oh my goodness, this one just tore into a finger. This is gonna be easy. So I'll cut it into little finger-sized pieces. They'll cook a lot more evenly in finger-sized pieces, I have found. Like I said, we usually don't know what we want until we're hungry, and so sometimes our cube steak isn't all the way thawed out, and so in fingers it's easier for it to thaw out. Then you can have as many as you want and not feel like you're getting too much steak. These are pretty tenderized. I'm just going to cut up a couple. At the store, you could choose 1 or 6. Usually, when we get a beef, there's 3 or 4 in a pack, and they're kind of folded up. So if you're going to thaw out the pack, you're going to have more than you want anyway. So we'll start with this. I also have put in my oil, which takes a while to get hot. So I've got the bottom of the pan covered pretty well. I can always add some if I need to. Depending on how much beef you have, you might have more of these and the flour soaks up more of it, and so I have had to put more in later. But this is about, I'd say, what did I write down that I did last time? About a 1/2 cup of oil. So I'm going to put that on fairly high, but since I'll be busy for a while, I'm going to have it on medium. But when it's time to cook, you need it high, but not so high that it starts to burn things. So I'm going to make my dipping right now, and I start with dipping in the dry, and then dipping in egg and milk, and then dipping in dry again. And sometimes I let it set for a while, and sometimes not. And at home, I never measure. Never, never. I just kind of wing it. So my favorite things to put in obviously seasoned salt. I put in at least a tablespoon for every cup. I like black pepper a little bit, because when you make the gravy, it's nice to have like a peppered gravy. Some things that are a little different. I like to put in a little accent. This is where you get that umami from. It's the extra, there's bitter and sweet and those things, and umami is deliciousness. And so don't use very much of it. And I always want to shake it out and taste what deliciousness tastes like just by itself. But someone said never to do that or you will never love it. So, and you can taste it in everything then. So I have never done it, thank goodness. So don't do that. Just put a tiny bit in, and it gives it a little bit more depth of flavor. Then my secret ingredient that I like the best is this Morton meatloaf and sausage seasoning. Now, it's hard to find. So when I don't have it, I just use regular sage. And I only put in probably a teaspoon, half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of that. That might be too much. But I will need more flour, so that's okay. So I'll just make the first dip one in here also. I think I inhaled some flour. I'm gonna cough and put the same seasonings in, except for I think I won't put the sausage seasoning. I kept pouring when I shouldn't have. So here's my spoon. My new favorite. It's not really, I usually do this with a fork, but this was handy, so I'm doing that. Now I'm gonna put them at home. I usually dip them in the same pan, but since we're here, I will keep them separate. The first dip and then the last. So I'm gonna keep an eye on my oil too. Sometimes I drip a little bit of flour in it to see if it bubbles. Not ready. Okay. For my wet mixture, I'm going to use an egg or two and some milk. I'm glad I have this thing on me. Now, I also, it's not what everyone does, but I like to put seasoning in the egg and milk mixture too. A little bit. Just the seasoning salt is what I do. And my little whisk is right here. Now I have quite a bit of steak. I don't know if I'll cook it all up. I'm only planning on this much so far. But when you dredge, that's what they call it, you want to start with flour, your flour mix. And a lot of people use just plain flour for the first dredge. I know that there are special things that you can buy with a tongs so you don't have to touch it, but I just cannot get the results that I want without using my fingers. So that's how it's got to be. So I dipped it in the flour first. Then I'm going to dip it in my milk and egg. And I just use my fingers. And then I'll put it in the second flour, or at my house, just the same flour. And then if this is ready, I put them right in. Since we're still waiting a little bit for, oh no, that's getting good. Getting pretty close. But I won't make you watch me dip all these. It's just flour, egg, flour, flour, egg, flour. And then I'm gonna line them in this pan, and when you come back, I'll show you them cooking.
Seems like the world is always changing. And like the weather in Kansas, change is inevitable. Mobile technology improves the lives of everyone, not just those living in a city. Nex-Tech Wireless is right there with you, providing expanded LTE coverage for everything from phones to farm equipment. We are devoted to help Kansas work smarter and live better. Nex-Tech Wireless. Time for something different. Today, get 4 iPhones and unlimited data for less than $40 a line.
What a girl wants in her home kitchen. Ease of use, flexibility, fun, the latest kitchen design, Frigidaire professional real stainless steel for fewer finger smudges, a French door refrigerator, convection cooking, a quiet dishwasher. Have the staff at Genuine Appliance in Hayes demonstrate new Frigidaire professional appliances to find what you want. Genuine Appliance at 1224 East 27th in Hayes. Everything a girl wants. Welcome back. I've put my first couple of sets of steak fingers in, and we had to make a few more batches of dip or dredge. And so I'm going to take these out. I like to use this splatter guard, because I hate being splattered with grease. And this one has a window in it, and I also feel like it cooks a little faster. It could be in my imagination. If they don't quite look right, I just turn them over and let them go again. But here's the ones we did first. They don't look pretty. They're not pretty at all, but they smell awesome. So I'm gonna take these out and put them back in. I wanna make sure not to get the oil too hot to where the bottom of the stuff that falls off starts to turn black, but it has to be hot enough to cook them, so it's kind of a dance. So while those get a little bit more crispy, I'm gonna I found my sugar, so I promised to put a spoonful of sugar in my corn. And I do not like a lot of sugar in it, so I just put 1 tiny spoonful. And look how that is looking. It looks just like crockpot corn, but in just minutes. Okay, this is, after we get all of these done, we're gonna make some gravy out of the drippings. And this is the exciting part, because Doyle and I always do this as a team, and we hand stuff to each other and get stuff. And so I don't know if it can be done alone. It's hard to tell. And if it can be done alone, we don't need to mention that to Doyle, because I like having him help me. So we'll see. Okay, I just wanted to put 1 more set in. So I don't want to get them too crowded. Sometimes I do, and it's harder to pick them back up. And silly me, forgot my favorite tongs. So these were here, but they're short. It's burning me. So these are dredged. Some people like to put them in the fridge for a while before we cook them. I usually cook them right away, but it's fine to put them in the fridge. I always want to re-dip them though in the, I don't know that you have to, but I feel that I need to re-dip them in the dredge so they have flour on them. It seems like it absorbs it. So I'm not going to put all these in. I'm just going to give them all a little bit of space. So many square feet per prisoner in my pan. So we've got a few of these to do. This was a short segment, but I do need another break, and when we come back, we will be ready to make the gravy. So.
Hi.
We're looking for insurance.
Oh, let's see who's free. Jerry?
When insurance agents work for only one company,
Michael!
their options are simply limited.
Everybody!
But a Trusted Choice independent agent is free to shop many companies for a better deal. Free to do what's right for you.
Let us shop for you. Contact Rogers & Associate to learn more.
Storage Solutions is invested in complete customer satisfaction. You can choose a drive-up unit or a climate-controlled unit. Plus, you can choose from storage units of all sizes to fit your inventory. And that's not all. They'll sign for your packages and deliver and unload them into your unit. Storage Solutions has been named in the top 100 U-Haul dealers 6 times. Rent a pickup, cargo van, or moving truck to keep your goods on the go. Remember, making moving and storing easy is Storage Solutions in Hayes and Victoria.
Hi, welcome back. I am just getting the last of my steak fingers out of the grease and we're gonna make our gravy. Everything else is ready to go. So, as soon as I get these out, I wanna make sure I'm not on too hot of a temperature. I might turn it down just a bit. I can always go back up. And then look how many steak fingers we have. We're gonna be eating for over an hour. Okay, so, or maybe a couple days. I always burn myself on this stove. This is not my favorite. So I am putting actually the leftover dredge to make so we're just getting more and more flavor. And then it's got, gosh, what, 4 or 5 flights full of steak finger crumbs in there. So it's gonna be a darker gravy than when we make it at home with just 2 or 3 steaks. And there's little pieces that fell off the meat in here, so I'm gonna let these cook a while to make sure we'll have more and more crumbs in here. I know you want your gravy to be nice and smooth, but also those little crumbs are delicious. So I wanna put in enough that it absorbs a lot of the grease, but not so much that it's not bubbling anymore. Can you see the bubbles? I put in a little at a time and then I'll let it cook down so we get all that flour taste out. This is working great. Remember, I tried to make gravy once before and my sausage wasn't fat enough. That was a nightmare. I never thought I'd be upset that there wasn't enough fat in my meat, but this is looking good. I used all the leftover dredge. We had to make several sets of it. So this is where Doyle is the most help because he pours in the milk and water while I just whisk. Wow, there is a lot of crumbs in here, you guys. It's not lumps, it's crumbs. Because I want to put in a little at a time, but if you don't go fast enough, it seizes up a little bit, or that's what I call it. I use a little bit of water, but mostly milk. And Doyle always knows exactly when to start pouring in more. It's just a great teamwork, and he does not like to do it very often. So I'm excited we're doing it today, and I'm sort of excited I'm doing it without him. I did have to plan ahead. Normally he's there to get everything out of the fridge, fill my water glass. Okay, this is looking like it's supposed to look. I don't want to pour in too much at once. Wow, one turned out. I'm going to turn up the heat just a little bit and let this cook down and bubble until it's nice and thick. I don't know, because the pan's not full, I kind of want to put more in, but I think I better wait and see if I need it. I think this heat is coming, it's burning my belly. This stove kills me. It doesn't love me. Just a little bit. I think I'm going to quit now. We'll let this bubble up. It won't take very long, but it's probably a good time to take a short break, and I'll get the plates so we can put it all together and eat it.
Your home's exterior is the best defense against harsh weather conditions. With insulated vinyl siding, energy-efficient windows, spray foam insulation, and metal roofing from AquaShield Roofing and Construction, you can protect your home from howling winds and ice-cold temperatures. Don't let Mother Nature interfere with the comfort of your home. Call or visit us online today for a free estimate. AquaShield Roofing and Construction. Our team is dedicated to your complete satisfaction.
You're an expert at building your company. You know your customers, your books. You live it, eat it, breathe it. Are you also having to wear an IT hat while you're managing hundreds of other things? Those hats could really add up. That's where Nex-Tech comes in. We'll let you be the expert of your business, and we will be your IT department. From cybersecurity to backup, hardware and software, we'll manage it for you so you can keep your business running. Rest easier with Nex-Tech Managed IT.
Okay, welcome back. It didn't take too long for this gravy to thicken up. It's pretty dark because we have a lot of drippings in it. So I have a little bit of mashed potatoes. I'm going to put some of it on top. I'm going to give myself a little bit extra gravy because I want to dip my steak fingers in it. Or if you prefer chicken fried steak, you could just put them all on your plate and pour gravy over them. But I kind of like dipping them. I think 4, that looks right. And my corn looks like it cooked plenty long, maybe a little longer than I should have. It still looks good though, still looks fresh. So there is our finished dinner, and I'm gonna see if it tastes just like at home. This gravy is awesome. It has a lot of flavor in it, so this would be the kind we like because it's a little salty because it's made so many drippings. So good. Let me try the corn. These turned out really good. Maybe I like this kind of stove. That's just average. I mean, it's just the same as it always is. Everybody loves crockpot corn, but let's not get all too excited. But in any case, I hope you'll give it a try. I'm sure you're already making it at home. But I'm glad you joined us here, and we'll see you next time on Local Flavor.